So, folks, welcome to this episode of The Rumble. My guest today is a music director. I'll get straight into it. I'm giving you mysterious talk. He has recently moved from just being a music composer into producing, or I would say directing a movie. So, what we'll talk about is the movie and then his general opinions on music. So, welcome to the show, James.
Yeah, thanks.
So, what are you known as, James or Vasanthan? Or James Vasanthan?
However you
Generally, what are you known as?
At home, Vasanthan.
Vasanthan. And otherwise?
Yeah. Everywhere it's James.
James. All right. So we'll stick to James.
Yeah,
it's your first name anyway.
Yeah, correct.
So this is a very rare occurrence that you have a music director with sufficient confidence to write a script and then find a producer and actually get on to making a movie. And you seem to have done that. Give us a little idea what you went through.
I think that should precisely give an idea about the status of music industry. You become jobless, you look for something else that can fetch you work. No, actually, in the sense, being a musician, I always dreamt of doing music for a good musical, feature film here in Tamil.
Okay.
Because musicals are very rare. When you see, but very frequently you see this term being musical being used in the newspapers, promotions, posters everywhere saying, for example, Rahman musical, UN musical, Hafiz musical. But in the sense, they believe they've made some good music. Yeah. But whereas, very well, in Hollywood, when they say musical, it's a serious hardcore music.
Yeah. I mean, the movie deals with music.
Exactly.
Not just throw songs in here and there.
Correct, yeah. The whole thing is based around the music as a phenomenon.
Yes.
And I wanted always to be a composer for such a musical. In Tamil, nobody came forward. I even approached quite a few friends of mine who are already filmmakers in this industry. But because each one had their own area of specialization and inclination to make movies around violence, action, comedy. But nobody was inclined to do a musical, so I was forced to.
So music is an essential component, but they don't want to give it too much importance.
Exactly, yeah. They can't do their films without music, but they can't make musical as such, is what I picked up. And finally, due to the circumstances, I was forced to write my own musical and turn a filmmaker. So, though that was not my choice.
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, if normally people have said, I'm never going to get a job like this, so forget about it. But you pursued it. It must have been a tough proposition, getting the people to convince them that, hey, this can work. A full movie based on musical subject or musical
Definitely,
characters.
that would have been a big challenge, but by grace of God, I think, when I spoke to one of my dear friends who has nothing to do with films, he said, who is your producer? I told him, I have got quite many friends, I can approach him, that shouldn't be a problem, but I went for another obligation to him. Because he was connected to colleges, and I said, I want some campuses to shoot this. He said, but why do you talk about shoot? Are you not doing only music? I said, I'm going to direct this film. I said, he asked me who the producer is. I said, I've got many friends. That shouldn't be a problem. He said, no, you will not go to anybody. I'll get you the producer. Then he put me on to one friend of his who has become the producer of this film. Okay. He's a businessman, basically. He has nothing to do.
So he's come in with his eyes open. He's under any false illusions. It's a movie and I'm producing. He doesn't care what it is. Approved?
Nothing at all. He never even asked me what kind of film it is. Out of my own goodness,
what does he do for a living? Just print notes? I mean, this is very unusual to hear somebody just say, Palau, whatever you feel like.
He is doing very well, thriving in his business. Good but he said, being a successful businessman, I always dreamt of making a good film. Good in the sense, maybe his own definition, something that does not have cliches, something that is going to be benefited by people who are going to watch it. Something, or a society message. Maybe, I don't know what he had in mind, but... then I forced myself out of my goodness. I said, as a producer, you should know what you're going to make.
So sit down and hear the story.
Sit and read out the complete script, dialogues to dialogues, beginning.
So you had a convert? Right after you finished it, you converted him into a believer?
Yes, very firmly. Yeah.
And that's essential. Nobody goes into a project without being convinced. They think it doesn't matter, but it does matter.
Only question he asked me was, the whole thing is around college campuses. Wouldn't it be a little boring? I said, the whole film is by the youngsters, for the youngsters. So it's around campus, they can very easily identify themselves with. Now
and these days, campuses, everything happens.
Yeah, correct.
From sex, violence,
Fortunately, my film doesn't talk about that.
Doesn't touch those
things. Music that happens in the campus. Yeah.
Okay.
My story is based around the Chennai
Is it also
colleges.
based on your own predilection towards
exactly?
You must have seen
a lot of people
dozens of
right. Yeah.
Hollywood flicks, all those kind of early movies. Grease, I remember Was it
Which one?
Olivia Newton-John and
Grease one, yeah.
Grease,
John
yeah.
Travolta.
Yeah, John Travolta. That was a classic when it came to campus romances.
Actually speaking, ever since my college days, I always wanted to do musical on seeing Grease 2, which is Michelle Pfeiffer. Which wasn't a success. It was a failure there in Hollywood itself. But that music and that kind of film
That
really made a big impact on me. And
So the one assumption or one conclusion can be drawn from that is saying that no film is a flop. You said that was a flop film, but for you it was a hit.
Really. If not for that film, I wouldn't have done this musical today.
Correct.
So as far as I'm concerned, that's one of the greatest
there are no
movies
flops, basically.
Yeah, correct.
So this is a genre of film which is not usual to us. We only throw fixed number of songs.
Correct.
And they just go away from the story
correct.
shoot those songs, some meaningless mountain, hill.
They have 3 songs before interval, 2 after.
Yeah, and that's a standard formula.
Correct.
So this one pushes the story forward. So music is used as a tool.
Exactly, yeah.
You've used it to narrate.
Yeah.
So how did you incorporate those two things?
This story is based around the city colleges of Chennai, where different college bands meet on specific occasions like the intercollegiate culturals, which is a very popular platform here in the college circuit. True. I grew up in the intercollegiate culturals. Like my whole life was based around that. I never attended classes. My time was spent.
You faithfully attended all these.
Yes, very loyally. I grew up in Trichy.
Okay.
Though I was from Trichy, we had represented, then it was IIT Mardi Gras. These days it's Sarang.
It's called Sarang.
Yeah, and we were champions in West music and film music when from a small town like Trichy, we beat up all the Chennai city colleges.
Good. I really wish you'd really beaten up these guys.
Yes. And
physically.
MCC, Deepuds.
Yes.
Deepuds is still called Deepuds? Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. So we were champions there. So this is the kind of lifestyle I had while I was at college. So my story is based around these intercollegiate cultures.
So I would imagine it's slightly autobiographical because you would have taken elements from what you had seen in your life.
You can feel free to say it is autobiographical. Why slightly?
Okay.
The lead character, a guy called Jack, is James.
Okay.
Okay.
Just spell the spelling and it's you.
So now you can really foresee Jack will only be a good boy on screen.
So where does your wife come into it?
That's what.
She may not be in it.
All the good things that James did is going to be on screen through Jack.
Okay.
See, there is a slight bit of romance because there is no romance without music or music without romance.
That drives cinema in any case.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's going to be part of it. I
think it was Paul McCartney who sang a hit song saying, I thought the world had enough of love songs.
Yeah.
But nobody will ever have enough of love songs. There'll be always a demand like that for love movies, romance.
Exactly.
It'll keep on coming.
See, for example, to underline your statement, out of the many tracks in the movie, a lot of youngsters come back to me on FB and Twitter and they say the song that most impressed me is called Please Forgive Me.
So there you go. See, James has hit that, he's got his funda right because he knew what those guys like because he went through the same thing. When we come back, we'll find out it's one thing to like it, but another one to actually put it together and make a movie. And why should we see it in his own words? Let's hear it. So the actual process of putting down your thoughts into a screenplay, these must have been alien to you because you're a music director. You're not a director of movies. So how did you learn those skills?
Okay, that's a very valid question. I expected this in the beginning of the show. There was an underlying dream ever that I would direct a movie someday.
Okay.
I didn't know what kind of film, when. That wasn't a burning desire, but it was a dormant, yeah. But I knew I would do it someday. So I was slowly equipping myself in the sense, not in the intention of, I was basically interested in learning about writing screenplays because I'm a Sid Field lover.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to screenplay, writing, he is the godfather.
Yeah.
So I had always been reading about all the screenplay writing, the various nomenclature involved in it.
The words
I used to observe films, watching them technically behind the camera.
Analyze them.
Yeah, exactly. Even before this, I had done quite a few short films of my own, some gospel activity, some social activity. I had always done work. I had extracted work from artists, technicians. I was quite used to it. So when I started writing, it wasn't new to me altogether. Okay. I started enjoying really while I started writing. It took almost around 3 to 6 months of time.
to write it?
Drafts after drafts. Yeah, the basic draft.
Is it linear or is it cutting back and forth in time?
No, very straight linear narration. I didn't want to do because
I guess this is the way a film is most easily appreciated. It's very subjects like this.
Exactly, and being a musical, even there wouldn't be much twists and turns in the story. Not great incidents that shake you.
Or twist in the tail. Or,
nothing.
Or
no musical has ever existed.
Dagger in his chest.
Yeah, unless otherwise you want to make a hardcore emotional musical. There are few there in Hollywood in the West.
Yeah.
But my first attempt I wanted that to be a very clean, light-hearted, gentle, entertainer musical.
There's this little danger in this because there was this guy Suresh Menon who produced I think Pudhiya Mugam.
Yeah.
He once made a movie, I think Pasa Malargal is version 2.
Okay.
He made it with the intention of making a clean movie for youngsters to come and watch.
Okay.
And I remember him telling me, man, I should like to put an axe through all their heads because nobody cares for a clean movie. They want blood and mayhem.
Exactly.
You know, and sex and gore. So maybe he miscalculated. I hope it doesn't happen to you. But there's been no children's film for a long time, as far as I know, in Tamil. Have there been anything? Somewhere in the lines of what you've done?
Pasanga Pandit.
Yes, that's true. Okay. That's true.
No, this is college campus.
Yeah, that was just children.
Yeah.
This is not more mature. I mean, these
teenagers.
Are grown-ups. Yeah. So how did you cast for it?
When I finished writing the script, my search began for musician singers because my basic concept of the film is those who come on screen, if they have to sing on their own without a playback support.
Okay.
Like the films in the West.
Yeah.
That was a basic idea how I started the whole project.
Okay.
So I had to hunt for singers and musicians and not actors.
Isn't that tough?
Yeah, it was. Actually, the time went on from 1.5 to 2 years to find them out.
And you were satisfied with the crew
that
you
definitely
actually put together?
Although I went almost to the extent of getting frustrated before I began shooting because the female lead really I couldn't get hold of.
Okay.
There were so many I had shortlisted around the world. I wanted them to be Tamil speaking. Even if not very fluent, they should be able to understand the South Indian language.
So you had cast people from different parts of the world who speak
actual shortlisted list was like that. From Toronto, Tamil speaking community, wherever they lived. From Sweden, one of the best talents I've ever come across in my life was one girl, singer who plays guitar, keyboards and all exceptionally well. But finally I understood she was just 14. To cast a 14-year-old kid into a college, which personally for my ethos it didn't sound right. I didn't want that to happen. Okay. So I really abstained from casting her.
So you kept her in your book?
Yeah, she was topping my shortlist.
No, and besides for the future, who knows?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. She's going to be in my film someday if there's a musician involved.
So does it have the usual setup in the sense, I don't want to call it usual, but you have a villain, you have a hero, you have a heroine, you have an anti-heroine, all that is mixed in. Is it a tale of reality or is it just fantasy college?
Okay, if you're personally curious, we can turn off the cameras. I can give you a lot of details, but
no, I mean, obviously not. But are there all these kind of characterizations also?
The screenplay is a very smooth flow, though there will be conflicts of emotions, interests here and there, very gently sprinkled. Okay. Yeah, but I wouldn't.
What is the reaction to the music itself when you play it to others? What do they come back and say? Listen, this is something that I've heard before. Or this sounds very Western, or is it Indian? What is the character of the music?
Okay, as a composer, writer of this film, my first intention before I started even writing was to employ songs from the pop and pop rock genre. Okay. I was very clear.
All right.
Because that's a kind of campus musical which I wanted to
that's the truth.
bring in.
I mean,
exactly. So I started creating. There are altogether 17 tracks in the film.
Wow.
So, some people in FB, very often the question is, you mean to say there are no dialogues in the film? The kind of.
Dialogue through the songs.
Naturally, that's how everybody is going to ask me like opera. Yeah. I said, watch the film and decide for yourself. And a lot of people ask me, when the third song comes on screen in Tamil films, we tend to walk outside for buying popcorn and things like that. Yes. Do you think as an audience I can sit through 17 songs in a movie? I said, you decide for yourself. I cannot say, yes, you will sit and watch. The movie is going to release this week. 13th of March, Friday. I've told all of them, you just go and watch, you decide for yourself.
Maybe you're free to put some super glue on all the seats and make sure they don't get up.
I've told them, feel free to put your comment in social networking, good or bad.
Okay.
Anything.
Oh, good.
So that way, about this music, 17 songs in an audio CD altogether, if anyone listens, it will sound as if they're all similar. Keep constantly listening. You put your feedback on social networking is what I've told my listeners.
Okay, folks, 17 songs, very unusual, but man's got the courage of his convictions. It will work. So when you come back, we find out what essentially makes the difference. I mean, 17 is hard to make 17 songs. He made 17 and put it in the film. Let's find out how that happened. You know, with the music of today, I'm not picking on any one music director. The music is all almost, let's say, everything is artificial, all created through electronic synthesizers, this, that, as they say, untouched by human hand, except the voice.
Correct.
Did you use a lot of acoustics in your songs?
As far as I remember, I think all the 17 are live played, because being pop and pop rock, you can't program rock music. The live drums, the guitars and the drums, when it's live, only then it's pop rock.
Snare doesn't sound like
exactly.
A snare.
So I recorded almost all my guitars, bass and drums in US and London.
Okay.
Mixed them and mastered them in US.
So how did you get out there? You had friends out there?
Honestly, these online, completely.
Okay. Oh,
I send my reference track first.
Okay.
I program and send them. The drummer listens and plays live and sends it to me. I make few corrections up and down.
You did that not because ours are not competent enough, but you felt there's specialists out there.
Oh yes, this music is not ours, it's theirs.
Okay.
So I would like the authentic instrumentalist to play that kind of, even if it's a simple slow rock rhythm, it's nothing like they playing on. The snare they choose out of the 11, 12 options is itself is a big skill.
Yes.
For us, it's all the same snare.
I know.
For a drummer who lives in London, a specialist drummer, he breaks his head for 2 days and sends me snare tones alone for 12 different snares. It asks me which one do you like for this song. I give mine and I ask him.
So that, as a music director and director together, that must have been a fabulous experience.
Oh, fantastic, really. Never
the whole
before
interaction with musicians.
Abroad and the bassist, everything was so very terrific,
Here they just tend to come in, give in the notes, play it, whack it off and go. I've been involved in so many of them.
Yes, correct. I know. Who else would know better than you?
There's not that much involvement. But is that because we are all professional musicians in India, that cinema is a profession, music for cinema is another profession within the profession. So nobody is into experimentation. Do you get a guitarist who comes and sits with the composer and says, why don't we do it this way or that way? Does that happen here?
Not at all. There is no interaction between musicians. Musicians are just dictated or given on papers what to play. Okay. Nobody is offered to experiment much. Other than Rahman's musicians. Rahman gives a lot of scope, is what I've heard from every other instrument.
And then of course he will take what he likes.
Explore, experiment and ultimately put them together. And that's why you keep getting innovative sounds and combinations from Rahman's music. No wonder he stands for 22 years.
Is it also a factor of the budget? Having the liberty to
You mean experiment? In normal, regular film music, you mean?
No. The whole thing about experimenting and creating new sound, is that also linked to the budget that you have to play around with?
Not necessarily. I think ultimately it's due to the music literacy of the composer.
Okay.
How much he wants to bring it out. How he should first of all know what is the potential available to him. Okay. This doesn't depend on a budget. You can get two very good instrumentalists around here and sit and discuss with them, have a music conversation and produce some good music. That doesn't evolve here. Okay. And it's because most of the time the director, he says he comes with an already existing song from the Tamil film, saying in the song Marina, do a song like this. The Madriye Venu sir. See, what I used to tell them was, you come out with an example because that's the music you have heard. As a musician, there are many songs which you have not heard, but we hear inside our heads.
Yes.
So there is so much more we can bring it out to you. Do you want to try it out? Sir, it ends there. Then you leave it to them. So
and the more you sit and discuss or argue with them, the clock is running, and
the more you talk, it ends up in argument and unnecessary egoistic.
And it doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was the name of the film? I know it's a very youthful movie, and it's got rainbow at some point in the title. Yeah. So what's it called?
It is called Vaanavil Vaazhkai.
Also your is the name you thought up, or your producer, or your
No,
friends?
nobody interfered in my scriptwriting, execution, nothing. If the film is good, I too am to be appreciated.
So you'll get the bricks and the bouquets.
Exactly, yeah.
Both are yours.
Both are mine.
And
yeah.
But
the maximum credit as a producer goes to him, because for this kind of script, as you asked me in the beginning, if I had gone to any the normal conventional producer, they would
showed you the door.
Yeah, exactly. He said, "What is there in the film?
Where's
no
the twist?
fights, no dream sequences, no twists, no turns, and no action sequences."
So this gentleman, is he a film buff himself, or he is just a man with money? Because only an extraordinary person will come out and say yes to this.
Yeah, it's because in his business he is successful because he thinks innovative, and he has very refreshing ideas. So I think he would have supported any new idea, innovative idea from the writer side as a director, even if somebody else had gone in my place to him. I think if it is a different kind of...
So did you have to write the score down as in sheet music and all that, or it just evolved?
Yeah, normally I write my score, but for this pop rock, I just played and improvised and did the stuff.
Did you sing any of the songs yourself?
No.
All my the song is in your head, you know?
Yeah, all my characters sing their own part.
Oh, true.
So I don't have an opportunity. Only the first track, which the film opens with the title, that's a background vocal. I introduce a new voice.
Oh, okay.
It is a regular rock and roll, which most films those days opened with. Okay. It's out of my dedication to those films which I grew up with.
Okay.
I made the first track rock and roll, like Bye to School.
It's not that you took an old song and played it in the background.
No, yeah.
No, because as long as you give credits, it's not.
But that's actually an inspiration of an old song, which quite a few musicians will know.
Those who hear it might say,
yeah, they will know. Yeah, this is a song which.
There's no harm in that. You're allowed to get inspired as long as you don't say that was mine, and you acknowledge the source. Everything is fine. Yeah. So when is the film getting released?
13th of March.
And where is it being released first? I mean,
all over the world, yeah. Tamil Nadu,
everywhere.
In India.
How's the response? You had shows for other people?
No, I don't believe in previews.
I mean, considering this is your first one, this is a strong belief.
Yeah, even before, I even tell my directors don't have previews.
Okay.
Maybe for the press, one says, because the day the movies are getting released are Fridays. Fridays is when the reviews come in. So it's better to show them 2 days in advance so that the reviews come on the releasing day. If you're confident, you will do it. If you don't want the press to meddle with the reviews, you will not. But I want them to review my film.
But how, I don't know, maybe our people are also so hooked on to this review business. Because the reviews go like a meandering river. It touches nowhere, goes round this, round that. It'll come out with only a mass of words which mean precisely nothing. I don't know who gets inspired. They still go there and put their money down on watching Linga because it's a big star cast movie. So, do these things really help?
Yeah, what you are really trying to convey is there are no specialist, qualified, serious critics, film critics here in the business.
Yes.
Everybody writes everything, but I believe in a few critics who are writing here in Chennai.
Okay.
I don't want to name them because it might upset others.
Yeah.
So, but I'm seriously looking forward for their criticism of my film. That will be my gauge.
So even them you have kept away from it, not sought any advice.
Definitely not, because I want a balanced, honest judgment. If I go seeking their advice, they'll be again prejudiced.
Correct.
So I've not spoken to any of them, nor am I going to invite to my preview. If they're not able to come, let them go watch in the theatre and write.
So this Friday is when it's out. Friday,
exactly.
What's the date on
Friday the 13th.
It is?
Yeah.
It is Friday the 13th?
It is Friday the 13th.
Wow, you're a brave man. So James, thanks for coming.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Lovely talking to you.
Yeah.
And never mind if it's James, I'm saying Friday the 13th. If it's a great movie, it's a great movie.
Okay.
And I'm sure...
Madhav, I personally want you to watch this film and tell me.
I will. You have my word on that.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Madhav.
Thanks for coming.